Okay, so the first thing I want you to understand is we talked about in the world of algebra, there is no such thing as subtraction. Subtraction does not exist. It doesn't even get a definition. So I want you to put, there is no such thing as subtraction. In the world of algebra. I know in like first grade and second grade, if you have a pile of 8 apples and you eat 2, yes, that is subtraction. Okay? But we're prepping you for the next phase of your math life. Right? Kindergarten through 6th grade was just teaching you how to work with decimals and fractions and all that stuff. Now that you know that stuff, we're getting into the real math stuff, and that's called algebra. So in algebra, there is no such thing as subtraction. Instead, we what? Remember those 3 words that I asked you? I said if you don't remember any other words except... Well, we don't want to say that, but that's exactly what it is. But we're going to say that's for fractions. But yes, we're getting there. Add the opposite. Okay. So don't subtract, add the opposite. And obviously this is not something that you would tell a first grader to do. So if you have 8 and you want to subtract 5, or you ate 5, or you lost 5, or whatever it is you're talking about, if you're in first grade, I would say take 5 away. If you're in 7th grade, I would say add in 5 negatives. But regardless of what grade you're in, your answer is the same. It's just this is a little more advanced way. And you've done enough years of this. We're ready for this. Okay? So, on your paper, I need you to get a clean side of it. If you're at the bottom of your sheet, start on the back. Because I need you to write 2 columns. Or create 2 columns. This will be the addition problem.
Do I go all the way down?
Yep. And this will be the subtraction problem. Okay. Or at least mine will, so yours may or may not. So, you mean to tell me if I start out with a problem 5 minus 1, instead of taking 1 away, that's the same thing as what? What would the equivalent... Yeah. The equivalent addition problem would be to take the 5 and add in a negative 1. Old school or old school versus new school, or, first grade versus 7th grade. So you know what else that means? If I give you just turned a subtraction into addition. If I give you an addition problem, could you turn it? In other words, what subtraction problem did I start with if I'm asking you to add in a negative 9? Dominic?
7 minus 9.
Yes. Do you agree? Do you understand? So what I'm asking you to do today is if I give you an addition problem, what is it written as a subtraction? What is the subtraction written as an addition? And they're going to get harder than this, but I'm starting you off kind of easy. So follow with me. Are you ready? So let's keep moving. What if I said, okay, 12 minus 20. Instead of looking at it as taking 20 out, you could look at it as what? Taking 12 and adding negative 20 in. Very good. So here's maybe what we should do. We should check to make sure both of these answers are the same, right? Are both of these answers the same? This is 4, and so is this, right? Okay, ready for something tricky. It's not too bad. If I had a minus x, how would I rewrite that as an addition problem? I know you can't really give me a number value, but you could at least say what, Sebastian? Yes, that's all there is to it, guys. All right. So now I got to give you another couple different ones because you already got those ones down. What if I had negative 12 minus 7? I know, Dominus is like, no problem. There's no difference. I just made that 12 negative, so I would just do what? Same thing. This doesn't change anything but what I do here, does it? So what would this problem be? Negative 12? Right. So this is a great example to show you that what you're starting with doesn't change. It's what you're taking out or putting in, right? So I'm taking 7 away from negative 12, or I'm adding in a negative 7. So what did this start out as? If that's the problem that is the addition problem, what is the subtraction problem that it was? Wesley?
It was negative 8 minus 10.
Yes, it was. Got it? Okay. So, here's what we're going to talk about now. I had, and I think Jana asked it this hour, but somebody else asked it another hour. If I give you this problem, and here's the rule. It's kind of a funny rule. And the rule is, if there is no such thing as subtraction in this fancy 7th grade math that we're doing, then guess what? You don't get to say minus then. So, the word minus cannot come out of your mouth. And if the word minus cannot come out of your mouth, then how the heck are you supposed to say these? No, you can't say negative, you can't say minus, you can't say take away, you can't say subtract. That concept does not exist. So, how would I say that without saying the word minus? Plus what?
Negative 1.
So, but be careful. You can't just take 5 minus 1 and make it 5 plus 1. How do I say that?
Negative 1.
Yes. 5 plus negative 1. Shh. So, here, 7. Oh, yes, I did say you couldn't say negative. 7 plus negative 9. Here's the thing. Do you see a plus sign anywhere? No. This is how it's written. This is how you say it. Watch. Here's the other thing I'll tell you. Not that all of your math teachers have been lying to you over these years, but if there's no such thing as subtraction sign, then these are negatives. They have been negatives the whole time. So see how I'm kind of drawing these little lines here? That 10 has been negative the whole time. You notice that? Shh. So, what would I say? How would I say that problem right there? I would say what?
Negative 8 plus negative 10.
Okay, Jaden and Jana, you need to watch up here. Yes, that's exactly what you would say. You would say negative 8 plus negative 10. It's almost like these little slash marks mean plus, right? Okay? So, what would we say for this problem? Okay, because it's time to trick you up a little bit. If I had 5 plus 7. I don't know if you're going to get this one. If you do, don't shout it. Just raise your hand. What? How can I possibly write that as a subtraction problem? If I'm adding 7, that's the same as what? And I can't. So Keegan, what do you think?
This thing is subtracting negative.
Yes. This is the same as subtracting a negative 7. I need you to stop and think about this for a minute. Remember that problem that said they took out the fee? So, do you know what a fee is? Like, I have to return some library books today, and they're 3 days late. So, let's just say that they're $1 a day. So, they charged my account $3. Okay? So, let's say I had $10 in there to start to cover this stuff. They charged it $3. But then, they realized that they were closed and I couldn't return it. So, they added in that. So, they took out the fee. I'm going to say that again. Look. They took my balance and they took out the fee. So what happened when you take out a fee? Money actually goes back in. So I now have that $3 back, guys. Taking out a fee or subtracting a negative means you're really adding. So if I say 8 minus negative 15, that's really the same as what? 8 plus 15. Got it? Yes? Good. So what about negative 10 minus negative 10? You can. Just keep the first thing. That doesn't change. So is that answer 20 or 0? 0, guys. That's a negative plus a negative each time. Or a negative subtracting a negative. Got it? Okay, so what about this? If you got this, oh my gosh, you are so good. If you could take this subtraction problem and get rid of all the minuses, what do you think that new problem would look like, and what do you think the answer is? Like, there are so many possibilities. You may look at that and think, oh, 8 plus 5 plus 2, and just add them and say, ooh, 15, and just ignore it. But you can't just do that. Because instead of subtracting 2, I want to add in a, and instead of subtracting a negative 8, I'm going to add 8. Now it's easier to do, right? So now my question is, what should I do first? And you know what? You do whatever you want, but you know what I do first? I do the ones that the signs are the same. I know it's these two first, but I want to do these two first, because 5 plus 8 is 13. And then I can take that 13 and add that negative 2, and my answer is 11. Got it? You try it. Negative 4 minus negative 1 minus 6. Okay, go. What addition problem is that? Rewrite that with no subtraction signs. Okay? Give everybody a chance. Rewrite that with no subtraction signs. Only addition. Yes. Yes. Dominic said, be careful, because that's not a subtraction sign, that's the... So that has to stay. Good. Never change that first one. So the rule today is get rid of the subtraction. So, what do we got, Tommy? Okay, so how did we get that? What problem did you make? Okay, hold on. 4 or negative 4? Because that doesn't... Okay, but that's got to stay negative. So that's negative 4. Then what? Plus 1. See how this becomes positive? So this stays. This becomes positive. And what's the same thing as subtracting 6? Not just adding 6. Adding a... That's a huge difference. So, which 2 are you going to do first? I know which 2 I want to do. Because negative 4 plus negative 6 is, and negative 10 plus 1 is negative 9. Good. Okay? All right, now let's try it one more way. 5 plus negative 1 plus 6. All right, try that. Now try it going backwards. Try putting it all into the negatives. What did they start out as? And then give me an answer. I'll come over and help. So, instead of adding a negative 1, that's the same as just subtracting 1. And if that's plus 6, it must have been what? Yes? Okay. All right. So here's what you're going to see today. You're going to see these problems. And here's the deal. I could not find a sheet that didn't put the first number in parentheses. If it's first, it doesn't need parentheses, and you know that, right? So if it's a sum, write it as a difference. If it's a difference, write it as a sum. So you're kind of doing the two columns. So what subtraction problem did this start out as? If it ended up being a plus 7? Keep the first. Okay. How about this one? And taking that negative 10, instead of adding in a negative 7, I would subtract 7. And then I have to do that answer, right? What would this problem be? 2 plus 2. But what would this one be? Instead of taking 10 out, add in. Yes, you got it. Okay?